Welcome to Two Desks Down, the business podcast that lets you get to know each guest for an entire season, not just one episode. I'm Erin Taylor, the owner of Luname Strategy, and I'll be your host every season as we explore business, life, and everything in between. So what are you reading right now?
I am reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, #2. Did you gasp because you've read it?
I love this series so
My
much,
gosh!
and we could spend the rest of the podcast talking about it.
My husband is obsessed, and he was trying to convince me forever to read it. And we have a lot of shared interests. I'm into the same kind of books he is, but I was like, I don't know. That seems too far onto your side of the spectrum. And then I finally I saw a couple other people, other girls, read it. I was like, okay, maybe this could be for me. And I read the first one, and yeah, it was super good. So
oh yes, I love it so much.
I'm a little overwhelmed by the idea of an 8-book series. We probably should give context if people are like, what the hell is Dungeon Crawler Carl?
This is such, if you love fantasy books, I feel like you will like Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah.
It is by Matt Dinniman, hopefully I'm saying that right.
I think so.
And it is no spoilers, but it's basically the world Earth ends. And the main character, Carl, finds out that there are aliens, and he gets to enter the dungeon to compete to see if he can move on in life, basically.
Yeah. He goes underground and starts fighting alien monster stuff.
Yeah.
And it sounds maybe you're that doesn't sound like something I would like to read, but it is. I can almost guarantee you. I had to tell my husband he had to leave the room for multiple reasons. But I was he literally, when I told him I was going to say this, he was I'm going to shout from the background, woohoo! And I was you can't be in here, get out. So it's worth it. I'm just overwhelmed, like I said, by there's so many books in the series. I almost always too many books. I can do a trilogy, and that's the most I would do. But I think it might actually be worth it. Have you listened to the audiobooks?
So my husband is listening to the audiobooks right now, and I've gotten to hear bits and pieces of it, and they're so good.
Did you
But
know?
I read them all.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. You read all of them?
I am up to date. I'm waiting patiently for the next one to come out in May.
Soon, right? Yeah. Okay. My husband listens to the audiobooks too, and did you know they're all it's one person doing all the voices? Yeah.
Isn't that so crazy?
Yeah. Literally crazy.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I read them basically all of last year. I think I started the first one in January and then literally read books in between to prolong them / give my brain a break. And then the last one I took forever to read just because I knew it was going to be the end until May. So I purposefully slowed myself down.
Yeah. I'm doing a rom-com on and off. One thing that's one book that's not a rom-com, one book that's a rom-com, one book that's not a and it's a very big contrast. I read the first book and then I was I'm reading It's a Love Story. And now I'm back in the dungeon. I'm what's happening? But yeah, I want to know what you're reading.
What am I reading right now? I just flipped over to a rom-com. Just like you, I like to do wild swings in between books. So I finished a fantasy and now I'm reading an academic affair.
Romance?
It
rom-com?
is. Let's see. We have The Enemy / Friends, and I'm guessing an enemies to lover arc is coming in here. We've got Marriage of Convenience, One Bed. We have all the.
Ooh, love it.
Yep.
I love it.
All the tropes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what are you watching?
I'm watching solo. I feel there's two categories of shows. What am I watching by myself and what am I watching with my husband? Because he doesn't want to watch Bridgerton with me. Rude. But I am watching Bridgerton. I didn't watch it when it first came out. So I'm catching up before the next second part of the new
comes
season.
out Saturday.
Yeah.
Right?
I've got some stuff to watch.
Well, yeah. Whoever's listening to this, it has long passed. But
sure.
As of today's recording.
Right now. Yeah. So we're watching I'm watching Bridgerton, and then my husband and I just watched The Paper, which is the follow-up to The Office, and that was fun. And we also just watched Pluribus. I don't know if you've seen that one on Apple TV. That one's
What
really
did you
good.
think?
I liked it. I wasn't didn't love it as much as I maybe thought I would, but I also went in with zero expectations. But I thought the premise was really interesting, and I think the name is really fun. I'm just can't get over how perfect the name is.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I would even like it or watch it, and I kept putting it off for a while, but then I heard it was the same people as Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And so I was you know what? I'm going to give it a try because that was a great, well done series. So yeah. I loved it.
Yeah. That's good. Do you want to share each of yours too?
Sure.
Okay.
I
So
can.
what are you watching?
I am, let's see, what did we just finish last night? We're watching the new, what is the show on HBO with the dragons?
The Game of Thrones?
Yeah, whatever their new spinoff is currently.
Is it
The
the Night?
Knights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Night,
Okay.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
Was
That
it
is what
good?
it is so far. I think we get to watch the finale tonight.
We are big Game of Thrones fans, but we haven't watched anything beyond the original series.
I really like the original series, and I'm very entertained by this Knights one.
Okay.
The other one that they have, I
Mhm.
have seen it, and I did not. I just kept watching it because I started. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
like,
The
maybe
House
it'll
of
get
Dragon
better.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a bummer. But fair. Good to know.
But I don't know. Maybe if you're a bigger fan than I am, I didn't read any of the books or anything.
Yeah,
I'm
I haven't
just
either.
here for the experience.
Right. Yeah. I'm just here for the dragons. And
Yes. Exactly. Oh, what are you listening to as far as podcasts go?
I was going to say I've never missed an episode, but I have begun to miss episodes. But I always like Sarah from Between the Lines Copy, her podcast, Point of the Story, and also Tori Sprinkle's Proof of Life. I feel like those are normally my go-to. If I'm like, what, if I'm walking around, taking my dog for a walk, like, what do I want to listen to? I'll probably put on one of those.
Yes, I love Tories. I will binge them whenever they come out. Just full
Yeah,
on binge the whole series.
I know. Which I feel like I should listen to one on each day or something so I could
Right.
just
I'm like,
soak
no,
it
they're
in.
so
But no,
short. Just
normally,
all of them at
yeah,
once.
same. They're so good.
I also listen to both of Xanthi
Mhm.
Appleyard's podcasts, which is The Love You to the Core and then Wanting in Public. So one she does with her husband, one she does with Caitlin Kessler.
Yeah, I need to get back into those. I've listened to both, but I haven't recently. So you've reminded me the
Yes,
new
yes.
to listen to.
This last episode she did, I felt like I needed to take notes and I was like on a walk. You know, sometimes those episodes you're like, oh,
Yeah,
like,
that's the hardest thing for me with podcasts is I want to remember everything and I just don't.
what about your favorite conversation starter? It's an introvert. I need more of these, so please.
Well, I was thinking the first thing I thought of was if I'm on a call, I will almost always talk to you about time zones. I'm like, where are you at? And what time zone is that? If I'm not sure. And so that means you're. So I'm a big time zone conversation girl. And also just weather. It sounds like it's so, I mean, it's so cliche that people like to talk about the weather and it's easy to talk about. What's the weather like there? I mean, if you're talking about people in my real life that I talk to, I can't necessarily talk to them about the weather unless we're together, bemoaning the fact that it's cold. But if it's some stranger across the world, then probably weather.
Yes, those are easy ones to get going on. I like the time zone. I've had a lot of time zone conversations lately.
And you're going to start having more,
Yes.
so many more. You're going to be explaining to everybody where in the world you are and how many hours ahead you
Right.
are.
Yeah. East Coast time now. And then I don't even know what the time zone technically is called over there. Whatever
Portugal
Lisbon
time.
European time is. Yep. Yep. Nice.
What about
I
you? What are your
find
conversation starters?
in that reading is the big one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I will at least have read the book or have read something in that genre to talk to them about to get going on something that's not like, what do you do?
Right. Yeah. I think books are good because I will happily give suggestions and also happily add them all to my Goodreads to read list
Yes.
immediately.
Okay. So you're on Goodreads.
I am on Goodreads. I have 3 friends on there, but you're welcome to follow me.
I'm not on Goodreads. I resisted Goodreads. And then I was like, when I wanted to start tracking my reads, I went with Storygraph. And so I'm over there.
I need to move to Storygraph because that I look at both Goodreads and Storygraph. So to back to let's talk about reading again for a second because I feel like Goodreads has more I almost trust their ratings more because they just have a bigger amount of users. And I started tracking over there, so I kept it. I think Storygraph might have a thing where you can import though, maybe.
They do.
So I need to do that because whenever I always tell what I'm reading in my newsletter and I always link the Storygraph one because I'd way rather support their business than Goodreads with Amazon anyways. And
Yep.
that they have in Storygraph, they have the speed, how fast it is to read. And I like when it gives me the content warning. So I can be I don't want to read books about those things right now. So, and I like their little AI summary too of here's if you like these kinds of books, you like this. So I am a bigger fan of Storygraph than Goodreads. But it's just the convenience of Goodreads, I feel like. So maybe I
Yeah.
just ship.
You have to manually put them into Storygraph, whereas like Goodreads, it pops up on my Kindle all the time. Like, would you like to start a good, log this in Goodreads? And I'm like, no.
But then I did have a problem last year. I was like, I got to December, it was like the last week of the year. And I was like, I am reading my 50th book. This is happening. I'm so excited. I read 50 books this year. And then I went into my Goodreads and it was double counting, like at least 10 to 12 books. I was like, what? And I was just like trusting them. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, now I'm at like 43. I'm like, I didn't notice. And yeah, I think it was double counting from some of the times on my Kindle that I marked it as or that was finished. And then when I went in and I don't know how it did it, but it was a very disappointing anticlimactic.
Warning to the listeners who are readers.
Be careful. Go look or don't look and just feel good about the fact that you read 50 books.
Yep. I do like that about Storygraph is that I can track, my goals are in pages and not books anymore. Because I felt a lot of, this is probably eldest daughter overachiever personality here, but I felt a lot of FOMO when people were reading so many books.
That's true.
And I was like, man, but the books that I read are like 700 plus pages sometimes. I feel like I should get double counts for those. So I stopped tracking total number and started tracking pages read.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mostly am like looking at the ones. I'm like, if on Storygraph it tells me the speed is a slow, I'm like, I can't do it. Like I need it to be medium pace or fast pace or like I'm out. Like I can't do slow pace books right now. So if it's 700 pages and fast paced, which I feel like they normally aren't, I'm into it. But normally 700 pages, I'm like, nope, I can't do that.
Well, some of the Carl books are up there.
Are they? Okay. Well, they're faster paced though, I feel like.
They are. You are currently, in my opinion, in the slowest paced book.
Okay, good to know. I'm ready for it though. I can do it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Awesome. Talk to me about the next or last trip you just took.
I had not taken a trip in so long, but over the holidays, we took a spontaneous trip to Portland. So I'm in Washington State, in Eastern Washington, and we went to Portland. My brother lives down there, and we didn't go visit him though. We went in this, I know we're going to talk about this in a second too, but we went to adopt a dog. And it was funny because my husband was like sending me this dog over and over again and was like talking to me about this dog in Portland. And we had been like looking for a very long time in the greater, like if it was like within 4 hours of us, we're like, we could go get that dog. And we were hoping to adopt something that was like a year old or more. And he found this one in Portland and he really wanted her. And I was like, well, let's just go to Portland. Like, let's just go after Christmas and we can adopt Bella. It'll be great. And so I'm not someone who takes fast action on things at all, but I told him that it was Christmas Eve and I booked the hotel and I booked us like a visit with the dog, with the shelter. And I was like, we're going to Portland. And he was like, you just want to go on a trip. Like you were using this as an excuse to like go somewhere. And I was like, no. It was definitely 50-50 because I wanted a dog, but I also wanted to go to Portland because Portland's fun. Long story short, Bella was adopted before we got there and we went anyways. And then we found a different dog who was wonderful.
Tell me more. Let's just roll right into tell me about your pet.
Because, yeah, she's wonderful. So we got there and she was adopted. So we showed up and we're like, well, let's just go anyways to the shelter and like see if there's any other dogs that we might like. And if we weren't expecting to bring a dog home, like I'll just say that. But we were like, it'll be good for the dogs when they come and like interact with us and like we have kids. And so it's just like good experience for the dogs. And like it's good for our kids to like practice with dogs. And like, who knows, maybe we'll see somebody. And like as we were eating lunch on the way down there, we found a dog named Bernadette on their website. And she had no information, like zero information. I'm like, I wrote a whole newsletter about this, about how people with these dog listings are not telling us enough information. And that's the same as with your website, probably. I'll just say that. But we ended up asking to see her and a couple other dogs. And she came in and she just like came in so calm and like licked my daughter and like just like laid around my son is 3 and he was like thunderclap and like smacked his hands together and she like didn't even flinch. We're like, oh, you're a cool dog. And we kind of like fell in love with her, I guess. And then we left. We're like, we want to adopt her, but they won't put a hold on a dog for you. They're like, if someone else comes and they want to adopt this dog, like you have to adopt her and like take her. You can't adopt her in here. And so we're like, okay, we'll come back tomorrow. We were also like getting things approved because we're renting right now. And we had to like get the dog approved for them to like say it was okay. And we went back to the hotel. I think this was the next morning we got approved from the rental. And then I got a call from the shelter and they're like, someone's coming to see Bernie or Bernadette at 5:00 today. I was like, we're coming. We're coming right now. We were planning to stay another night. But I was like, we're just going to come. And we just like went home. We went and got her. We did get her. And then we left town. And I like went to the front desk at the hotel. I was like, I have to go adopt a dog right now. Can you refund me for tonight? And she's like, yeah, I'll refund you. Like, go get your dog. And I was like, oh my God.
That's so
sweet.
sweet.
Hang in the lobby. And then we ran out and just went and got her and drove straight home. Got home at like 9 p.m. with a dog that we were not expecting to get. And I was like, what did we just do? This is psycho. But she's wonderful. There's a little bit of like, oh my God, we have a 1-year-old dog now who needs a lot of like attention. And
Yeah.
it felt very symbolic to be able to like say we're ready for a dog because we've had a very hard like year and a half of life. And I had no capacity for a dog. And before that, it was like my kids were really young and I didn't have capacity for a dog. So I always said I was a dog person with 2 cats and no dog. But then it was like, okay, like I'm ready. I can like say yes to like more of a challenge now. And now I'm like, I don't regret it, but I will say that I'm like, maybe I should have just like reveled in like, I have a little more capacity. I should have like let myself just like have that. Cause now I'm like, oh, I'm back at my capacity again. Like nothing else. I'm very busy and like sometimes stressed, but I think dogs are worth it.
They are. I think so.
Yeah. Tell me about your dog and your trips.
Wait. But how big is she? I have questions. I follow-up questions.
Okay. I can answer your questions. She is, I don't know. I mean, she's like 50 pounds. And so I didn't tell you what kind of dog she is. We don't know yet. We actually just sent out the DNA tests. Actually, we didn't send it out. We just did it, and I have to put it in the mailbox. But we think she's like a Catahoula hound dog mixed with like a German Shepherd.
Okay.
Ish. So she's like medium-sized.
But if she's 50 pounds now and she's like a year, then she'll probably gain an extra.
She might gain a little bit, and they also said she was a little underweight. So she might get a little bigger. But we've had her for like 2 months now. And she's like gained a little weight, so she's not like so skinny, but she hasn't gotten any bigger.
Okay.
So this might be her size, which I hope it is. She very much wants to be like on top of us too. So like I hope she doesn't get bigger because like I can't. You're like on top of my head and you're a big dog.
I had one dog who hit that year and a half mark, and it was like their chest filled out a little bit and it gained an extra like 5 to 10 pounds. And then our most recent dog, she didn't do the same thing. It was kind of like she grew up and then it was like, this is the size she is at a year. She never did that like expansion.
I'm curious. We haven't. So we had a border collie until he died in like 2021. And then we adopted a Great Pyrenees senior dog and we had her for like a year. She was really great, but she had not had a good life before us. And so she was getting really reactive. It was like she might have been losing her hearing. So like the kids were like crawling around and she was like starting to get pissed at them. I was like, this isn't good for anybody. Like, so she went back to live with her foster family who actually like were hoping to foster fail. And they were thrilled. Like Kyle, my husband and I were both sad, but everybody else was like, this is great. And now, it's our first time having like a younger dog ever, like all on our own. Because before we were like in college when we got our border collie and he didn't live with us at the beginning. And now it's like,
a 1-year-old is
we're going to training classes. We're learning how to train a dog over here.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. So let's see, our recent big trip was to Lisbon last April when we went to like go scout neighborhoods to move to. But since then we did a little driving trip with a couple of our good friends up to Greenville, South Carolina area last fall. So it was nice to go see some leaves that had different colors and, do a hike, hang out for a weekend, feel extremely old because it was a college town. There were all these college students walking around. I was like, I have never felt so old in my life.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And then I no longer have a pet. I'm petless, unfortunately. We lost Fog in November unexpectedly. So now we're on the hold period until we get over there, get settled, and I guarantee we're going to get another dog. My husband's already talking about getting a dog. I'm like, we have to wait until we arrive in Portugal.
Right. Yeah, you got to wait. This is not the time.
And finally, on my little speed round that's now, we're at 20 minutes in, talk to me about your latest food or drink obsession.
I at first was like, oh, latest. But then I realized as I was making my lunch today, I have to say peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because that's like all I eat and all I talk about. If you've been anywhere near me on the internet, I'm PB&J girl. That's who I am. So I'm going to go into like what it is, what it should be. This is my PB&J. I'm having Dave's Killer bread, the white bread done right because I like it, but also it's like one of the only breads my kids will eat. And then creamy peanut butter, I go with the no stir kind. I'm not a snob about peanut butter. Well, I guess I am because it's the only one I want to eat, but it's not like the pure natural one. It has a little bit of I think they add powdered sugar to make it not have to stir. I don't want to stir my peanut butter. And then I used to be a raspberry jam only, and now I'm a grape jelly girl. And I don't know, I used to be get that grape jelly out of my house, never. And now I'm I really put grape jelly on my sandwich. I want a lot of peanut butter and I want a lot of jelly. And I want to cut into rectangles. I don't know why I said it like that. Rectangles.
No, not toasted.
No.
No, that was a hard no. Have you tried that?
I have not. Someone actually just tagged me in a video of a toasted PB&J because, like I said, I'm PB&J girl. And I would try it. I was like, okay, I would try it, but I'm low-key a little stressed about it.
I enjoy it. I do a little toast on the outside with the peanut, just on the outside, peanut butter up. So it starts to get a little melty-ish. And then pull it off, add the jelly. So it's just a very thin crunch on the outside, but it's still smushy bread on the inside.
Yeah. I will.
You look skeptical.
I will try it. I will because I need to know. I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to expand my PB&J horizons and see what I think. But yep, I had one for lunch today and then I was like, oh, obviously I know the answer to this question. My latest obsession is my forever obsession, and that's PB&J.
Yeah. What kind of grape jelly?
Yeah. Right now I'm just eating the one from Target, both of the Target brand.
Okay.
My daughter used to have a peanut allergy, I just remembered. So there was a 3-year period where I could not eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And it was a sad time. And I feel like now I'm really into it because it was I didn't get to have it for so long. She's outgrown it, which is amazing. And now she won't eat them. My 3-year-old will, and my husband and I. And I'm at least we're 3 out of 4.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you do before? Did you go almond butter?
I don't think I did because it's not the same.
Hard stop. Okay.
PB&J or bust, man.
I love it.
Now, what about you?
My latest obsession, which I'm not going to be able to continue obsessing over, is I went to Trader Joe's for the first time in the last month, and I got Swedish fish from Trader Joe's. And I wouldn't even say I'm a big gummy person, but man, I had them at my desk and I realized I am literally opening up the bag and grabbing more without realizing it. I'm I need to put these back in the pantry.
I am a huge Trader Joe's fan, and when I saw you post that, I was so excited about you going to Trader Joe's for the first time. I've never had Swedish fish. Not once.
You should get them.
I should. I like to go back to the Seattle area, at least every other month to do things, but also to go to Trader Joe's so I can bring home my favorite things. So at the next.
Yeah, I was so surprised. I think there was only a couple things that I was it was okay, but almost everything I got from Trader Joe's was excellent. So, I crowdsourced it all, but it was excellent.
It's it was one of the things I was I can't. We moved back to my home. My husband's in my hometown last summer, and I was I can't move there. I used to always say I could never live somewhere where there's no Trader Joe's, and here we are. We're surviving, but it's been hard.
Surviving, but not thriving without Trader Joe's.
No, not thriving.
Oh, it's so great. All right, before we dive deeper, tell me about yourself for the listener here who's heard all about us.
Here's who I am. I am Caitie Cupples from Caitie Cupples Creative. I am in Washington State, as I said, where there is no Trader Joe's on the other side of the mountains in Eastern Washington. I am a copywriter. I tend to call myself a website copywriter who side quests happily in launch and sales page copy as well as emails. I can't decide if I want to claim a website copywriter title or not. But as far as how long I've been doing this, it claims the copywriter title in 2024. I'm trying to decide if I should tell the story backwards or forwards. But I used to be a teacher way back at the beginning of my career. And I did that for 7 years. And then I had a baby and it was during the pandemic and I ended up leaving. I started a business helping teachers with resources. And then I realized I didn't want to do that at all. And I liked marketing. So I shifted into marketing and freelancing. I worked for an ed tech company as our marketing lead. And then they ran out of money and I needed to do something else. And I was I want to just write. So it's been about a year. No, it's been 2 years. 2 years of being a copywriter. And that's what I do now, obviously.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, let's talk more about that. Life and business. Talk to me about what season of life are you in? How are you balancing all of the things that comes with it? Tell me more.
I I feel like I'm not in my season of life yet where this is not directly impacting me. So even though I wish I didn't have to talk about it, it does impact me. A tree fell on my house. A tree destroyed my house in 2024 and all of the things that we owned. And there was asbestos in the drywall. And so everything was contaminated. So we lost our house, like, for the time, as well as all our things. And I feel like I'm still just in the aftermath of that. So I feel like the season of life is like the rebuilding era and like the coming out of this like intense wait, I'm like rebuying towels and, everything that I own in my kitchen. Well, everything I own, just everything, every little thing. And that was like the reduced capacity time. So I feel like I'm coming into this season of like, I just got a dog. I like have more capacity again. We moved back to our hometown. My parents live 5 minutes away. Like we have help. We have like right now there are no children in my house. One's at school and one's with my parents. And like that was never a thing before. I was always like, I have no childcare. My kids go to like daycare or not maybe daycare. My daughter went to preschool, but now it's like there's space and there's time. And I'm excited for that because it means I have more time to do things like this, more time for client work, more time for my own business. And I feel like the word I always choose a word of the year and then I like never think about it again. So I'm coming back to it. My word of the year was stretching, that I was like, I'm ready to like stretch myself again and be able to like stretch what I think I can do, stretch what I have the space for, and just like not feel like I'm so like I have to keep myself so tight. And I don't know, what's what we're looking for, just whatever the opposite of like letting myself be loose and I don't know, have fun.
Yes, yes. Well, I feel like I don't know much about Chinese New Year, but I do know that we went from the snake that's shedding to the horse that's running. So I feel like you in
Oh,
a life are like at that moment too, which
yeah.
is fun.
Giddy
So
up.
I'm gonna just jump back to the beginning here and ask some more questions. Did the tree just fall? Was there a storm?
Yeah, there was a storm. There was like I want to say record breaking, but maybe it wasn't. It was called a bomb cyclone, which I had never heard of that type of storm before, but it was like super high winds. And we lived right outside Seattle, and our neighbor had big, tall trees behind us. And one of the trees, I'm very bad at estimating heights of things. I would say it was like 80 feet tall. Like it was a tall tree and it uprooted, which I'm like, how does it do that? How
That's
does it
insane.
do that? And yeah, it uprooted and went all the way through our backyard. It went all the way across our like our living room and then our bedrooms and then into our front yard. It was like a giant tree and just smash. Yeah, it was bad.
But everybody was okay.
Yeah, we were all home. It was like 9 o'clock at night. Um, Kids, so our like living room was the first room that was hit, and that room was like demolished. Like the ceiling was on the ground, the roof was on the ground. The kids' room, part of the ceiling collapsed like over their beds, but they weren't in their beds. I should have said that before that. They had woken up and they were like scared of like the thunder, not the thunder, but just the wind. So I brought them into bed with me and I was like working on my newsletter. I was like sitting in bed writing my newsletter with them like sleeping next to me when the tree like crashed onto the house. My husband's on the other side of the house and he was like, all he could see was destruction from where he was. And he was like panicking and like running back. And I was like, we're okay. We're back here. And like, there was like limbs through the ceiling over our bed, but like they didn't get that close. So it was really
That's so
scary.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 9 p.m. and a tree falls on your house. What do you do?
Well, we like grabbed the kids and told them not to look and like ran from our bedroom down the hallway, put them in front of the TV and like put on a movie. I called my aunt who lived like 30 minutes away and I was like, I need you to come right now. Like a tree just fell on my house. I called 911 because I was like, I don't know anything about this. Like our wires, is something gonna catch on fire? Like, I don't
Right.
know how this works.
Yeah.
Like, how stable is my house? The person, I will never get over this. She was so dismissive. She was like, a lot of people have had trees fall on their house. You need to call insurance in the morning. I was like, you don't understand. The tree is she thought the tree was like leaning on my house. I was like, no. Like my roof is gone. Like my house is collapsing. Like I need someone to come here and tell me if this is safe. Then the firefighters came. And we like got our cats and like tried to pack stuff up and like went with my aunt. The house next to her is an Airbnb, her neighbor. So she was able to like get us in that house that night. And yeah, they came, my aunt and uncle, and like we just packed stuff up into 2 cars and like took our valuables and like some clothes. And then we found out like a week later that everything was contaminated, which like I feel like if we got it out that night, it was probably okay. Most of it, some of it.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Don't even talk to me about asbestos. It's like a nightmare. But like, yeah, I won't get into it. But Yeah, so we just left that night, and then it's been a nightmare, like, of just getting it's not even we are now at, like, 1 year and 3 months past, and I think we're finally gonna get to start construction, like, in the next month or so, because insurance has been so slow.
Yeah, insurance is terrible to work with. You
It's
have to have it, but they're awful to work
I
with if you
know,
need it.
so awful. Like, what are we paying you for? Like, what's up?
Right?
Yeah.
That's so insane. So trees inside your house, but you still have power to put on a
Yeah.
movie.
The power had gone out, and then it came back on, like, 30 minutes before the tree fell. It was,
Wow.
like, really yeah, we were very grateful because I couldn't imagine, like, trying to run around in the dark trying to find stuff, like, at least the lights were on so we could, like, find our cats and find our like I'm actually
Yeah.
amazed we found our cats.
Wow. And that was okay, year and 4 months, so it was right before the holidays.
It was a week before Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And
Yeah.
and it's crazy. You've lived through it. You're living through it, I feel like
Yeah.
still. But for someone who is in a similar experience, I won't say the same because what are the odds?
Yeah.
But
I actually did someone on Threads was like, "A tree fell on my house, like, recently too," and I don't know if they had asbestos, but it was, like, a similar situation, and they moved into a rental like we did, and then a tree fell on their rental. I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Like, don't tell me that." Okay,
okay.
yeah, but hopefully never at the same situation for anybody.
Right. Hopefully never, but in a unique situation where suddenly your life is uprooted in some way from a
Mhm.
tree or otherwise, how do you have any advice on how to get through that mentally?
Mm. We had to, like, really adjust our expectations and be really compassionate with ourselves about, like, how much we could get done, and I had to be okay with, like, asking for help. Like, I was at the during that time, I was, like, starting a website project, I was on a team, kind of, like, doing the copy as part of, like, a larger agency, and, like, I had to be like, "I can't." Like, I'm sitting at my computer, and I'm trying to write things, and, like, I can't. It was, like, a week after. And so, like, people like, my team stepped in and, like, helped with things. My website copy project, they were really patient with, like, deadlines and, like, they were like, "Do you even wanna do this right now? We can just do this later." I was like, "No, no, no. It's, like, good to have a distraction," but I think being able to communicate and, like, ask for what you really need and being honest with yourself about what you need was really big and just accepting help from, like, the greater community, from, like, our families, from, yeah, our community, like, we had a GoFundMe, and I think just like I said, it was just, like, reducing my capacity and, like, learning to say no to a lot of things for a while and just having to, like, accept that this is a season and it sucks, but it's not gonna last forever, and just, yeah, hunkering down and, I don't know, letting yourself, like I said, say no
Yeah.
to lots of stuff.
Yes. As someone who has recently gotten rid of all their stuff, or 90% of it, on purpose, I would love to know how that has been for you and your family emotionally, because it's kind of crazy to be like, we all know it's just stuff, but there are emotional ties to a lot of
For
things that
sure.
maybe you don't realize until it's gone or you have to get rid of it. Did anything stand out as far as issues or how to process all of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I processed it super well. Like, I'm still very upset. Like, there are so many things that, like so asbestos, it gets into, like, the fibers of stuff, and if it's, like, a hard surface, like glass or metal or, wood, like, you can clean those things, and I think plastic too, most plastic things. But, like, anything else, it's like, they can't do that. So, like, pictures, like, we lost all of, like, every printed picture we had in our house, the baby books that I made for my kids. We lost, like, obviously, like, I had their outfits that they came from the hospital in, like, we lost those. Just, like, all of that kind of stuff. I think it's, like, the stuff that you can't replace that is, like, so crappy. And, like, people will ask, like, "Oh, do you have" like, we were talking about old headphones, right? Like, I don't have anything old. Like, anything that I, like, held on to that, like, isn't made anymore, that's more of, like, an annoying thing where I'm like, I used to have this thing and now I don't have it, and, like, to get it again is either gonna, like, be annoying or it's gonna cost a lot of money or, like, it just you just want it for just, like, right now. Like, I used to have a paper cutter because I was a teacher, and there's so many times I'm like, I would love to have a paper cutter,
Mhm.
and I don't like, if I really wanna go buy a paper cutter again, not really, but, like, I used to have one, and it was nice to have one. So there are so many, like, inconveniences that I'm like, "Ah, I used to have that thing, and I don't anymore," and we've replaced only a fraction of the stuff that we used to have, and we need to get more of it. But it's like this hard thing with insurance too of like, they'll give you some money up front, then you buy it, and they give you more money. And it's like this back and forth to be able to like make yourself whole again. But there is a huge emotional like loss that's like tied to it. Because as far as like there are some things I'm like, oh, it's kind of nice that like all that stuff is now just gone. I didn't have to like deal with it or like make a decision. But there are so many things that I'm like, It's not worth it though. Like, it's not worth it to have lost everything when like those were the things that I picked, or they were special, or they were old. They were from when I was a kid. Like my American Girl doll, I had just gotten it to give to my daughter, and she's gone. And like it
Which
was
one?
when I was a kid. I had Addie,
Nice.
and yeah. So like things like that, where it's like that's just, and then like all of their toys, every single stuffed animal. We had like stuffed animals that were ours when we were kids, and like my cousins. So I don't know. It's just like the stuff that you can't replace. That's the crappy thing. Stuff that you would have like in your position, like maybe put together and like stored somewhere, or stuff you would have like said goodbye to and
Right.
taken a picture of, but no.
No. What about the rest of your family?
The other, like my husband and kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as losing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the same. My kids have like they didn't my son was 2. No, yeah, he was 2 when it happened. My daughter was 4. And they really like rolled with it. I was expecting them to be like, this is devastating. Where's my like favorite stuffed animal? No, they were like, okay, we just don't have our stuff anymore. That's fine. We can get new stuff. And I was like, okay, like that's great for you. I kept trying to model like, I'm really sad about not having this thing, and it's okay to be sad. So if you feel sad, like it's okay. They were like,
Right.
I'm not sad. So my kids were fine.
Oh,
And
great.
I mean, like my husband was in the same boat as me, where he was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, sad about the stuff that we had to say goodbye to and weren't expecting to.
That's so interesting that
Yeah.
the kids like didn't care. I'm
No.
like, well, I'm so glad that you've
Yeah,
raised them to care about people and not things.
I know. Like, remember all those special, like, toys that I bought you over your no, they didn't care about them at all. Like, as long as they had things to play with, they didn't really care what they were.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So, what is next? How are you proceeding in this whole process, understanding that how crazy it is with insurance and you're just now starting the rebuild
Yeah.
process?
Yeah. So rebuilding is next, and then deciding like where we want to live is next. Like, are we going back into there? Are we moving somewhere else? Like, what happens next once the house is done? Or, because like I said, we're like 2 hours away now. We moved over here to be close to family. Well, this was all really hard and crappy. And yeah, I feel like we're still in the process. Like, we have Thursday nights are our inventory nights, because we have to like inventory everything we owned in order to get money back. And we've been putting it off for a long time because I don't want to do that. I don't know what clothes I own. Like, I just like what was in my closet. I don't know. So we're working through that whole process. And then it's just hopefully, yeah, having a fixed house and not, yeah, getting to look at it in the rearview mirror and not have to like live in it anymore. The messy parts of it.
Any lessons learned that you'll change about how you do things moving forward?
Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
I know. Part of me is like, should I like take pictures of everything I own and catalog it? Like, hopefully it never happens again, right? But then you think that and then it does. I don't know. I feel like there's like the practical stuff, like literally like having pictures of your most expensive items or something. But other than that, I mean, also changing insurance companies. I'm going to be doing that. I won't slander them on a recorded line, but like we haven't been happy with our experience. So I don't know. I think I can't think of anything in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. Any hacks that you've learned or are going to be taking forward as far as like when unexpected things happen? Maybe not this unexpected, but you have to
Mhm.
pivot on your plans. Any hacks that you've picked up or have just integrated into your life because of this experience?
One thing that, I mean, because my husband and I think one of the hardest things about this, let me back up a little bit, is like how much extra stuff there is on our plate now. It's not just like I'm a human who has to like do the laundry and wash the dishes and like feed my dog and take care of my kids, not in that order of importance, but like I'm doing all these things as an adult. And then I am running a business, and I'm also like a human who has my own needs. But now I have like insurance calls I have to make, and I have to talk to these contractors, and I have to make these decisions about this, and I'm like following up with this company who, there's just so many different things that are always on my mind. And so something that there's probably way better ways to do this. Like, maybe not better, but like more official ways. But my husband and I just have like shared notes in our apps. And why can't I say these words? Shared notes in the notes app on our phone of just like, here's what you're going to do. And here's who I'm going to call this week. And like, just trying to like break it all down and like have like kind of a meeting to like make a list of all the things that are on our plate and like divvying it up that way. Cause it's just too much all the time, like sitting, on me, on us. And so I think those shared notes have been really helpful.
I love that. That's a great tip for people. Not only ask for help from your husband or those around you, but also communication. That's what I heard through this whole story is not, communication with your family, communication with those who you're working with your friends, with the insurance company. And
so they could communicate back. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us today. And we'll talk next time more about business.
Okay, wonderful.
Thanks.